Hello and welcome to the very first Throwdown Thursday podcast YouTube video. My name is Patsy the Angry Nerd, and I am one of the hosts of the show. Um, if you're just reaching us for the first time, you've never heard of us, maybe somebody recommended us to you. We are a trio. There's myself, there is my wife Ashes Von Nightmare, and then there is our friend Agent Nicole. What we like to do is take the characters from your favorite movies, books, TV shows, video games, and we're even going to be working on some historical figures coming down the line. And what we like to do is we like to kind of give you um, some information that you may not be aware of. You know, kind of go into the backgrounds of the characters. Any special skills, talents, abilities that they have. Also, their history. Where they came from. Um, like maybe some weird information about who it was that created them, how they came about. Like Wonder Woman was created by the same guy who invented the polygraph, and part of the reason she wears bracelets and has a lasso is because he was into bondage. Weird stuff, I know, but you can always check out that episode. We are available on pretty much every major podcasting app. We have Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify now, if you're interested. We're on Spotify. We can also be found directly on our hosting site, throwdownthursday.buzzsprout.com. Any one of those will give you our full catalog of episodes. We are up to 99 this week. This is May 17th. This Thursday, May 17th. So our 99th episode just aired today, and we covered the character of Offred, played by Elizabeth Moss, on the Hulu exclusive show The Handmaid's Tale, based on the book of the same name. We kind of go into who she is, her journey, who she was before she became Offred. Um, it's a very interesting show, and we get pretty passionate about it. So there's a lot of things we get very passionate about when it comes to this show. Um, so our show basically breaks down into three parts. We have the opening, which is what we call our getting into character segment, where if we have a guest, we will ask them 5 random questions that they are not aware of beforehand. If we do not have a guest, what we will do is we'll kind of um, tie in the main subject in some way, in some tangentially in some way with the opening segment. So for this week's show, for instance, The Handmaid's Tale TV show was based on a book. So we talked about some of our favorite and least favorite and most faithful book to screen adaptations that we've experienced. Whether it's stuff we read in high school, stuff we read for pleasure, stuff that we were assigned to do. Um, we talk about whether we read the book first or saw the movie, because that's one of the greatest debates of our time: is what's better, the book or the movie? And in some cases, uh, usually the book is better because you can do a lot more with a book that you can't do with film. With film you only have a finite amount of time. With a book you have infinite pages. You can write a story as long as you'd like. So I mean, look at the movie It. Uh, it's like an 1,100-page book, but you only have about 2 to 2.5 hours to tell that entire story. It's not going to happen. There's just going to be so much more detail. So we kind of get into that debate a little bit. Um, But if you're looking to find us in different ways, or maybe interact with us, we are on Instagram, Throwdown Thursday Podcast. We are on Twitter at TD Thursday Pod. We are also we have a Facebook group, Throwdown Thursday Facebook. Just ask to join. And we'll look into you a little bit. Make sure you're not some kind of troll. We don't deal with that. And then as long as you're good, we'll let you in, let you be a part of the conversation. You want to suggest a character, you want to comment on an episode, you want to vote in one of our battle polls, because that's the other part. That's the throwdown part of Throwdown Thursday. Is what we used to do is we used to do like an NCAA tournament style bracket thing where we would put a 64 different characters who all have something in common, whether it's a hand-to-hand combat or some sort of martial arts, sword fighting. We put them all in a big uh, big bracket and let them kind of use fan voting and kind of whittle it down till there's a champion. And that wasn't really the way we were trying to do the show at the same time uh, as our voting, and the way our recording schedule so much didn't really interact well with the voting. Like if we were to do it, we'd have to we'd have to like really alter it, and it would take months to finally do it. So what we do now is basically every other episode we will take two characters or more, whatever character we happen to talk about. Like we did our episode Back in Black, where we talked about Black Panther right before that film came out. We teamed up T'Challa and his father T'Chaka, the two men who had the mantle of the Black Panther in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we paired them up against Bruce Wayne and his father Thomas Wayne, but from the Flashpoint storyline. And we called it the Billionaire Bro-Down, and we let folks vote on who they thought would win. They each get a week of prep time, and we thought it was a good fight. So we kind of try to do stuff like that, match them up. But it's not always a hand-to-hand combat thing. Um, we did the Belcher kids from Bob's Burgers versus the Simpsons kids in a prank war, and then we let folks vote on that. So we don't have any influence on it. I mean, we do each get a vote, but we don't really, we don't say one way or the other what we think, and whatever the voting comes out, that's the way the voting comes out, you know, and then we talk about it on the subsequent episode. Um, yeah, we like to hear from folks. We like to hear from our listeners. If you want to suggest something, reach out to us any of those ways. If you want to send us an email or a voice memo, record something on your phone and email it to us. We can be reached at throwdownthursdaypodcast@gmail.com. We respond to everything because we can. We're not this huge podcast and we get thousands of things a month, so it's a lot easier. We're very personal. So if you want to reach out to us on any of these mediums, please go ahead and do so. Leave a comment below on this video. Like I said, this is the first one. I know I'm rambling a little bit. I've done this 6 or 7 times. One time my microphone wasn't plugged in, so I wasted 11 minutes. So that was awesome. But again, I'm new at this. This is the first time I'm doing this. I've only had this YouTube channel set up since Sunday, so I'm very new. So if you have any constructive criticism, I would love to hear it because I'd like to get better. I am looking into getting a better camera. Not that this one's terrible. This is the camera that came with my laptop, but I have like a lot of light sources going on, and I'm trying to. I have to kind of angle because my room is an absolute trash hole right now. It's such a mess. So I'm trying to kind of angle things. I've got stuff piled up on other stuff. I mean, you can see my shark bank and my Sharknado bobblehead there. Some of my movies, my cool posters, my poster that right here, right above my hand, that my wife made me with my real name, Patrick Rahal, on it, and some of my Funko Pops. This is just some cool stuff I have in the background. So if you get tired of looking at me, you can kind of try to look at all the stuff I have. See if you see anything cool. You want to comment on this stuff? Please go ahead. I mean, you got I got some action figures and things up there. I got a shark right here. My autographed Deadites poster. If you're not familiar with the Deadites, get familiar with the Deadites. They're a really awesome electroshock monster hunting band. You can check them out, trickortreatradio.com. Every Wednesday night, they're a podcast as well a as a band, and their main host, Johnny Wolfenstein, is actually our producer. So if you like the sound of the velvet voice of Johnny Wolfenstein, and you hear him on our show or you hear him on their show, and you want to hear more of them, you can just go back and forth between the two shows, and you'll get as much Johnny Wolfenstein as you want. And I think that's about it. Yeah, I talked about the show this week. I don't know. Oh, next week, which will be the 24th of May, is our 100th episode. I want to talk about that just a little bit. Let me kind of focus this down a little bit. We have some great listeners, and we get some great feedback from those listeners. We also get some great feedback from some of some other great podcasters, folks with some great shows you want to check out. The Ocho Wrestling Podcast, Casual Sex with Crumb. Yeah, I know you want to check that one out. The Best Darn Diddley Review Show, the Derailers Podcast. All those folks left us some voicemails. We have had the Best Darn Diddley folks on. They're a Simpsons review show. They've been on the show with us before. I want to say episodes 73 and 74. I believe they're called the Best Darn Diddley Crossover and Crayola Oblongata. So if you're a big Simpsons fan, you'll know what that one means. The Derailers should be joining us in the near future. I'm very excited about that. And I think Casual Sex with Crumb, that's a good show you want to listen to. You know, Crumb, very nice voice. Like, you know, you can have people can have Morgan Freeman's voice narrate their life. That's nice. I want to sleep on a pillow made of Crumb's voice. Just saying. But yeah, we have a lot of feedback from some of our listeners. We have some nice inside jokes. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna post more videos as events warrant. And I apologize if I'm looking off in the wrong direction. I'm trying to look here because that seems to be like I'm looking right at you, like I'm watching myself, and it looks like I'm making eye contact, but I can't quite be sure. Sometimes I'm looking at the little light up here by the camera. Like I said, I'm looking into getting a new camera. I'm new to this. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I kind of do, but bear with me. I promise these will get better. I know I'm rambling a little bit. I did have a script when I first did this, but it sounded like I was reading a script, and I didn't like it at all. I wanted it to be more organic, like how we do our show. We don't script anything. We might write down a couple of things so we remember them. Like if I on the 100th episode, I do a very alliterative intro. I had to write that down because I just did not have a chance to commit that to memory, and I knew I would screw it up if I didn't write it down. But everything else, we were just right off the cuff, all real reactions. We have some celebrities calling in that next show. We got some voicemails from Jason Momoa, John Travolta. There are a couple voicemails from myself from the future, which that's some crazy stuff. I don't really want to get into it too much, but blow your mind. It's amazing. All right, so I think with that being said, I'm going to stop this video and see if I can edit it and add some wacky sound effects. I don't think. So if you see during this video, you see some random things going off, and that'll be why, because I'm messing around with this. But hopefully it'll be uploaded soon, and I hope to hear from everybody. So have yourself a swell night, and I will see you in the next video.